Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial. And what we did in the previous tutorial is we saw an example of a program that can brute force a Gmail. Right now what we want to do is create a simple program that will be able to brute force any website we want. What we will do is we will code a program that will take the actual data that we will deliver to the page itself in a dictionary. Now that data will be something that you will need to change through every website that you try to brute force, but those are only just one line changes, so nothing really to worry about. We will do the same approach as before, so if we see a string that will actually indicate that we failed to log into our page, we will pass to the next password, and if we don't get that string, what we will do is we will print the username and password, and we will print found username and found password. Now, in order to test this, since you can't really brute force with a lot of passwords our real websites, we need our own website or our own login page that we can test this on. So what you want to do is start up your Metasploitable. So here is mine. I will just start it up right here. And what Metasploitable has is it comes with the damn vulnerable web application where it actually asks you to log in before you can use it. What we will try to do is we will try to simply just brute force that login application. Since we already know the real credentials for that, and since that is not a real website, we can actually test our brute forcer on that. So, open up your Metasploitable, open up your terminal, let us navigate through our directory. Let me just enlarge this one time, so here it is. cd python programs, and we want to go to the brute forces currently. So we have our gmail.py, we have our passlist.txt. Right now what we want to do is nano brute forcer, however you want to call it, .py. Okay, so right here let us type hash and exclamation mark and then user/bin/python, and we'll just stop right here in order to log into our Metasploitable right here. So msfadmin, and msfadmin is the username and password as before. And what you want to do is first of all check the actual IP address of your Metasploitable and navigate to that IP address on your Firefox or Google Chrome. So right here I have Metasploitable 192.168.1.5, and you should see this page once you open it up. You will have these 5 links, and the link that you want to click on is the DVWA. It will lead you to this page, as you can see, username and password, and there we have the default hint, or basically we have a hint down here which says default username is admin with password. Now of course let's pretend that we don't really see this. Now let us try to log in with some random credentials. So 123, 123, 123, 123. And we can see that we didn't manage to log in with our fake credentials, but we did get a string which says login failed. So this is a key string that we will search in our HTTP response from the Metasploitable in order to check out whether we managed to guess the username and the password. So let us go right here. We started our actual program, but before we actually continue with it, let us create a simple actual password list which we will use, which needs to have our own list, right? Which needs to have our own password. As you can see, the correct password for this website is the password, and the username is admin. So let us nano password list.py. Hello 1234 password, or let's not put password that soon. Let us use admin root tor password 123 password, and then we will use this password right here, which is the correct password. Now of course, once again, if you don't want to use this password list right here, you can just navigate to, I believe it is home. Or let me just locate word lists. Locate word lists. Let me see where the actual, okay, so the directory to the word lists is user share. So cd user share word lists. If you just type here ls, you will have multiple word lists Most of them are for different programs such as dnsmap.txt, dearbuster, dearb, metasploit. In the metasploit directory you can of course find some of the useful metasploit framework password lists for different types of the attacks, and the most known actual password list will be this rockyu.txt password list. It contains around 14 million passwords, and it is mostly used to hack websites like this. Now this is of course once again not a real website, so it really doesn't matter which password list we use, but in a real life attack you would want to use a password list similar to this, since this password list was created from gathering passwords from hacked accounts. So let us go back to our root Python programs, Bruteforcers, and first of all, let me just nano my password.py, okay. Wait, why did I call it password.py? It should be .txt, so txt, yes, save under different name. And what is the name of our program? Okay, so it is Bruteforcer. Let us start up our program one more time, and right now we need to import two libraries in order to perform this. Now, first library would be the requests library, which we will need in order to actually send and receive the actual HTTP response and HTTP request. Now, before we do this, let us actually imagine and see what we need to do in order to be able to code this. So let's navigate to the page that we want to brute force, and this step is the same for every page that you encounter, whether it is a page on Metasploit framework, or pardon me, on Metasploitable, or any real-life page that has this similar login, username and password. So let us refresh so we get the real page right here. And all you want to do in order to actually be able to understand what we're going to do is go to the open page source. It will open up the HTML code right here, and what we are searching for is the form. Now the form is something that we fill in right here, such as the username and password, and in the form there should be three variables, at least. One of them will be username, one of them will be password, and the third one will be this button that we have to click in order to actually log in to that page. Now we will have to click this button through our code, and we will also have to specify this button right here in order to be able to perform the entire action. Since if we only fill these two fields and we don't do anything with this button, nothing will work. So in order to do that, it is most likely going to be in the body. So just go on these arrows and press them down. You can see right here, form action login.php method post. Now since this is the only post method right here, we can for sure say that it is actually correspondent to this actual username and password. So click arrow on this right here and on the field sets. There you should have some similar field sets as to the name of the actual fields in the web page itself. As you can see, label for username, it even selects it right here. So we are going through this part right here, and what we are interested in is the name of the username. So we can see the type is text, the class login input, size 20, but the name is something that we are interested in and something that we are going to specify in our code. Same with the password. As you can see right here, we have the password field. The label for the pass is password, and we are interested once again in the name. So we can see the name is actually password. Now in the actual button, in order to find it, here it is, p-class submit. Now we are interested in the class and in the name itself. We can see that the button is, once we click it, its name is login. And it also specifies right here that the name of the button is login, the type is submit, and the value is also login. So those are all the things that we will have to specify in our code in order to be able to actually log into this page. So let us do that right now. Import requests. The next thing we want to do is specify the URL that we're actually going to brute force. So the URL would be the actual URL of this page right here. So you can copy it if you are running this from the actual Kali Linux Firefox, or you can just type it like me. I will just lower this and type the URL. We will store it in, for example, a variable called page_URL equals, and then between the double quotes we need to specify the full URL. So in order to specify the full URL, you need to specify first HTTP. Since this is an HTTP page, as we can see, it is not safe. It is not HTTPS. We need to press the two dots, // and then the IP address, which in my case is 192.168.1.5. Now, if this was a real page, you would not specify the IP address, you would specify the actual name of the page itself. Then afterwards, we need to type / right here and navigate to the DVWA directory and then / once again. And the file that we want to actually interact with is login.php. The next thing you want to do is prompt the user of this program for the actual username, and then we will iterate over passwords in order to be able to guess it. So username equals raw_input. And let us prompt the user. First of all, let me enlarge this. And let us prompt the user for the actual username. So enter username for specified page. And right here we can close the double quotes, close the actual bracket. And what we will do is in the next video, or not in the next video, right now what we are going to do is open the file for reading, and in the next video we are going to code a function that will actually crack the password itself. So for now on we only specify the URL and the username. Right now what we want to do is we want to open this file that we made. So password list.txt, I believe. Let us remove the password list.py. We don't need it. That was a mistake. And let us navigate to our program and open it. So with open password list.txt, and then we want to open it for reading, of course. We want to open it as passwords, since this is our list of the passwords. We want to actually crack for each password. We want to try it with our username. So brute forcing, we can call our function like that, or just brute force, and we will pass two arguments to this function, which one of them will be username and the other one will be URL. So these are two things that we are passing, pardon me, page_URL, so make sure to specify the same name, and then we want to actually print if this doesn't work, print, or we will actually print that in the next video. For now on, let us just leave it like this, and we are going to code this function in the next video. Now don't worry, it is not that long, so we will be able to finish it pretty soon. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!